Dutfield Yard. Your interrogation of P.C. Smith has proven to be very shrewd and of great interest. Thanks to the information I've managed to gather and that you were able to read in my notes in Baker Street, Watson, we can recreate what happened that fateful night at this location, Dutfield Yard to be precise, the site of Liz Stride's murder. Midnight, the Socialist Club meeting ends. The members, mainly Jewish men, gradually begin to leave the club in little groups or alone. "12:20 a.m. The American leaves the Socialists Club for some fresh air. The street is deserted. 12:30 to 12:35 a.m. Smith notices Liz Stride talking to the man with the package. "12:40 a.m. Eagle, the president of the club, enters the workers' club via the passageway through Dutfield's Yard. He passed through Dutfield's Yard. If Liz Stride had already been killed, he would have had to walk over her. The murder, therefore, had not yet happened. 12:43 a.m. Israel Swartz passes by Dutfield's Yard and witnesses the attack on Liz Stride. 12:44 a.m. Schwartz crosses to the other side of the road. The attacker sees him and yells, "Lipsky." The attacker must have shouted to his accomplice at the end of the road, "The Lipsky," indicating at Schwartz using his head in an attempt to scare off this undesirable. 12:45 a.m. Schwartz runs away, followed for a short distance by this man. "1 a.m. Mr. Diemschutz wants to enter with his cart, but the pony refuses. We know that the murder took place between 12:45 and 1 a.m. Mr. Diemschutz, therefore, must have disturbed the killer. Let's place Liz Stride's murder on the timeline, Watson. 12:45 to 1 a.m. The murder of Liz Stride. It took place in this very spot, as the traces of blood were very confined. We will come back to this point in a few moments to elaborate on what could have happened. Well, we are still missing certain information in order to finish this investigation, Watson. Watson, imagine the victim laid down there on the ground. The throat, there is but one clean cut, slightly slanted downwards. The ground is muddy. Her knees and dress, they are clean. Her left hand, it is closed around a bag of pastils. Her right hand, it is bloody, as is her wrist. Her knees and dress, they are clean. The throat, there is but one clean cut, slightly slanted downwards. The ground is muddy. We have two possibilities. The first is that Liz Stride's killer and the attacker, seen by Schwartz, were one and the same man. The second is that Liz Stride meets a client. After some discussion, they head towards Dutfield Yard to do their business. As soon as they arrive, the attacker appears while his accomplice keeps watch. Schwartz's arrival dissuades the two men from lingering. They leave the area and leave Liz Stride in a tense state, but glad to have kept her client. He will be her murderer. Both hypotheses are possible, but an incongruous detail will serve to corroborate one of them. An incongruous detail that we were able to establish regarding the Hanbury Street murder. Which one would that be, Watson? Look at the victim carefully, Watson, and tell me the link between the murder of Liz Stride and those of Nichols and Chapman. Look at the victim carefully, Watson, and tell me the link between the murder of Liz Stride and those of Nichols and Chapman. No, that's not it.
The packet of pastils, Holmes?
The bag of pastils. Indeed, Watson. If this woman had to defend herself against an attacker, why would she have held onto this bag in her hand? It didn't fall because this woman's hand tensed at the moment when she fell to the ground. Therefore, Watson, we know the killer distracted his victim's attention by making them take something out of their pockets. Why didn't he slit her throat like the others? He must have feared a struggle with this strong-willed woman. Why didn't he eviscerate her? Because Louis Diemschutz arrived.
Do you think the Whitechapel killer is behind this murder, Holmes?
Yes, and now this murder has been linked to its rightful perpetrator, it will take on deeper meaning when we have examined the facts from that night. Let's go to Mitre Square, where Catherine Eddowes was killed. And make haste, Watson, as we have another murder to commit in 40 minutes.